So this is section 1, mechanical drawings. And mechanical drawings, they're using this kind of as a very broad, covering a lot of areas, but they break down to a couple different drawing styles. So we've got two-dimensional drawings, and they are showing, well, they call it two planes. They only show one side at a time. All right, so that's two-dimensional drawings. So if you were to take a drawing of a single die, all right, so like throwing dice or gambling dice, if you were to just take a two-dimensional drawing of a dice, you would have to have 6 different faces of the dice. So you'd have 6 two-dimensional drawings for this poor thing. It can get chunky, but you get a lot of detail doing it that way. A three-dimensional drawing, as it says, gives you a three-dimensional representation. It looks 3D. And with that, you can just do one drawing and you get an idea, but if you want to do the complete object, then you'll need a second one so you can get all 6 sides of this dice done. So that's two-dimensional, three-dimensional drawings. There are some, I'm trying to find a nice way. There are variations. They're cousins of these that we're going to find out as we keep going through. So that's the good news there. We've got schematics. Now, schematics, most people think when you hear the word schematic, most people immediately go to electrical. Schematics, I will also venture to say, can be used for any system that all you're trying to do is show the connection of elements. All right, then that's an important takeaway. We're looking at connections of elements in a system. So technically, if you are showcasing the connections and how the different elements are connected to each other and form a system, you could say that drawing is a form of schematics. So now exploded view diagrams. This one's not really showing you how the parts are connected, but does show how they go together. Not only shows the intended assembly of mechanical parts, exploded view diagrams are used extensively when you have to tear down a piece of equipment to do maintenance, rebuild it, and then used again in the rebuilding process of that component. Pumps, the various types of pumps that I've had to work with, and valves. Exploded view diagrams were used, and I always had a reference open to the pump that I was working on. Even if I'd worked on the pump before, I tried to keep a reference drawing, an exploded view diagram or drawing available nearby so I could refer to it, so I didn't have to, quote, try to remember. If I was having a brain fart moment, I could just glance over and make sure I was either tearing this pump apart properly or I was reassembling it properly. It is little things like that that will help you out and make sure that you don't have a catastrophic mistake done in your work. Really, really a good thing. No mistakes. It happens, but the more you can do to prevent it, the better off you're going to be. And title blocks. Now, title blocks, as they say, typically are in a lower corner, but not all the time. Sometimes the title block is the entire bottom part of the drawing. It depends on the style of, well, the author, as well as the requirements of the company and or the contract. So yes, usually in a corner, usually it's the lower right corner, but again, not all the time. It could be in the lower left. It could be the entire bottom. And in a rare moon, it may be even at the top. So you're going to have to scan the diagram, the drawing, to see where the title block is. It's really, really easy to go, yes, that's the title block. Because the first thing it does is it gives either important information about the drawing or equipment, but more importantly, it identifies the drawing, whether it's the drawing for the pump, I don't know, valve, the engine, whatever. So it'll also usually gives the author, or at least the company name, as well as any particulars about what's going on with the drawing. Is it a part? Maybe it has a part number, sequence, whatever. So there are tons of information usually available in title blocks that you may or may not need. The other item that they're not showing is a legend. So a legend is basically a cliff notes of all the symbols that are being used. Now, typically that could either be a full page if you're looking at a set of prints, or if it's just a quick print, it may be off to the side, bottom, or wherever. And that will describe, once again, the legend describes the symbols and symbology being used inside that drawing. So the good news is we're moving on to the next section, which is piping sketches and diagrams. And we'll catch you in just a little bit.